Welcome to Shaf Man TV. We're going to have a look at some breaking news, actually. Ed Woodward, Man United's executive vice chairman, could delay his departure to help appoint a new manager. Obviously, it was announced in April that Woodward would leave Manchester United at the end of the season because he was obviously one of the architects of the proposed European Super League. Woodward is now set to oversee the appointment of an interim and permanent manager after Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was sacked on Sunday. Well, if you want an anecdote of why Manchester United is such a dysfunctionally ran football club, you have someone who's been involved in the demise of the football club who's making a decision about the football club. This is the person that's been involved in causing the issues. And for him to have any part in trying to resolve an issue that he's been part of is terrible. So Woodward admitted at the time that it would be difficult to walk away, and there's been no further comment on his future since. However, he does remain at the centre of United's decision-making process and was instrumental in the decision to sack Solskjaer. The instability within United's football department means Woodward is likely to still have a key role for many months to come. It's just this man, he doesn't know anything about football, okay? Absolutely zero. And for him to have any say is just abysmal. So the instability within the United's football department means that obviously he's going to stay. The 49-year-old joined United in 2005 and has been in his current role since 2012. Woodward gathered all the football staff together on Sunday morning to tell them that in the wake of Solskjaer's departure, all their jobs were safe. Whoever comes into the role of interim manager, they will be expected to work with the existing coaching staff. Well, if this coaching staff aren't good enough, then why would the interim be expected to work with them? Like what's the logic? If you're saying that Solskjaer is failing and he needs to be sacked, fine. But then why aren't all his coaches sacked? No Name said, hey man, hey, No Name, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it. It doesn't really make any sense. So as things stand, it will only be in the summer when there are more rigorous overhauls of United's football operation, when a new long-term manager will be confirmed. United don't have a long-term plan, because if they did, Solskjaer would still be there, because a long-term plan means that regardless of any volatility inside of the club and with results, you carry on with the manager. And this is just ludicrous. And this man is a rugby fan. He lives next door to Gary Lineker. He knows nothing about football. He was part of the leverage takeover that's actually saddled Manchester United with £600 million of debt. He used to work for Goldman Sachs, if my memory serves me correctly. He doesn't know anything about football. He's not a football operator. Repeatedly, on innumerable occasions, Man United have been whipped in the transfer market because of this guy. Clubs have seen us coming and they're laughing all the way to the bank. We're a laughing stock in the transfer market. And I can give you hundreds of examples, but this man shouldn't be anywhere near this football club in any capacity, and it's just another ludicrous example. So No Name has said, there's so much here say right now. The media is full of contradictions. Yeah, the media don't care about United. United fans need to understand something, that Carragher, Souness, most of the London-based media hate us, but the media have managed to whip fans into a frenzy, and they've basically been abusing a club legend. Apart from Sir Alex Ferguson, there's probably very few people in the world who've done more for Manchester United than Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. And it's disgraceful. But Woodward doesn't have the ability to do this role. And the fact he's staying there shows one thing, that the Glazers are hell-bent on retaining their power. They did it when Sir Alex Ferguson resigned. What did they do? Think about it. Ferguson came out and said he would never work with Raiola. He thinks Raiola is a disease. What did they do? They went and brokered a £89 million deal with Paul Pogba to bring him back to United. They also went and bought Mkhitaryan, who was a Raiola client. They also bought Zlatan, who was a Raiola client. They basically wanted to break the power base of Sir Alex, because Sir Alex was probably miscalculated in retrospect. When they first took over the club, you have to bear in mind that some of the debt that they had, some of the £600 million debt, £500 million debt, some of it was at around 19.25%, so 19% interest rate. So United, when the Glazers took over, were paying somewhere around 70, 80 million pounds per year in interest payment, not in capital repayment, in interest. And obviously Sir Alex had the team and kept on winning on a little bit of a shoestring budget. And you'll see that United sold Cristiano Ronaldo and replaced him with Antonio Valencia. They banked 60 million pounds, and that 60 million pounds was used to service the debt. And only because of the TV deal and only because of the growth in revenues in football generally have the Glazers been able to survive. But the £600 million debt is still on the club. It's on the club. It's not on the Glazers' assets. It's on the club. And should they default, the club becomes, its very existence is under threat. And people like Woodward were instrumental in this leveraged buyout, were instrumental in this. And actually, there's a major opportunity cost. United have paid, £1.2 billion in interest payments in the past 16 years. They've paid about £300 million in dividend payments. They've still got a £600 million debt. Most businesses, when they have a £600 million debt, they also have an asset that the debt is paid for. So the cash flow from the asset should service the debt and grow. They've not bought any assets. Tottenham are 600 million quid in debt, and they have one of the best stadiums in the world. United are 600 million pound in debt for no reason, and about £1.5 billion has left the club in interest payments and in also management fees, and that's got an opportunity cost. That's not been able to be invested in a new stadium, new facilities, better infrastructure, into the first team. United have been on a budget, contrary to what the media has said. United spend a lot of money. In comparison to the turnover, United don't really spend that much money. If you look at the wage bill as well, the wage bill in comparison to turnover is relatively low. It's dropped to 53%, What's No Name saying? This can't be sustainable for the club. Well, they have sustained it because they've managed to refinance. So if you want to go through the story of United's debt, when the Glazers took over, some of the debt, around 200, 300 million of it, was at 19.25%. And they've been lucky in two regards. Number one, the TV money that's come into the game. And number two, the rate of interest globally has dropped. After the 2008 financial crisis, the rate of interest due to quantitative easing and an increased supply of money has dropped. So now the servicing of the debt is only around £25 million. And they've been able to refinance the debt without clearing the debt. So if my memory serves me right, the rate of interest is about 4% now. So it's gone down from about 19% to 4%. So they've been able to increase revenues and squeeze out cash flow, and they've been able to service the debt, but they haven't paid the debt off. And so they've been lucky. United have been lucky, because if you ever had any type of issue with revenues, you'd have a huge, huge problem. And the type of organizations that you owe this £600 million to are the type of organizations who'd sell Old Trafford. They would come and they'd liquidate the actual whole club. And this is what Woodward's been involved in, and this is what Woodward represents. He's an investment banker. He's a rugby fan. He knows very little about football. He doesn't probably like football, but he's on an ego trip. Him, Joel Glazer, they're on an ego trip. They want to win because they think that when Sir Alex was there, when United were winning, that they were somehow part of that victory and those victories. They weren't. Sir Alex won in spite of them, not because of them. But they don't know that because they're egomaniacs. They think that they can bring United back to the top of European football. They can't, because not only do they not know anything about football, United's finances mean that clubs like City and lesser extent, Liverpool. Liverpool are actually a really well-run club, as much as it pains me to say. Chelsea, Newcastle in the future are able to invest, and United's owners are extracting. They're just extractive owners. No Name said they are deluded. Yeah, they are deluded, but they're also basically milking Manchester United. And Woodward's on like £4 million a year, so he's probably earned about £40 million in wages since he's taken the job, and he's failed abjectly. But we also need to go into what failure means for Manchester United. If United finish top four, the difference in prize money between finishing first and fourth is very little. If they finish top four and get in the Champions League, their revenue basically is pretty much the same as if they'd won the Champions League and they'd won the league. And that's all they really care about. There's no desire to make Manchester United the best club in the world. The stadiums fall into pieces. There's a lot of archaic things with United. The scouting system doesn't look very good, and they don't buy top players all the time. They buy one or two players, and then they try to bring players through the youth system. Not because they care about Sir Matt Busby or Sir Alex Ferguson or the Babes or the Fergie fledglings or the class of 92. Don't be mistaken. Those players like Rashford and Greenwood, they're not paid any money for them. So they're assets on their balance sheet that they can probably borrow money against. So that they see things in purely financial terms. They don't see things in any other way in making United excellent, improvement of things. Everything's a financial decision. And this is like neoliberal financialization in action. And United have bore the brunt of this American business model, which actually cannibalizes businesses because it doesn't have a long-term outlook. It has a reactive. So they said, "Oh, we've got So they gave Solskjaer a contract in August, and now they've sacked him because they're thinking, "Damn, we're going to miss out on top four. We need the money. We need the money." So they're just thinking about every quarter. We need to get the Champions League money. We need the money. If there was no Champions League money, they wouldn't care if you finish 15th. The only way that the only investment that they make is to just get in that top four. If you happen to win a league, of course they'll be happy, but that's not their aim. Their expectations are set low, and Woodward's part of this problem. They are deluded, and they're destroying the club. I'll give you an example. Amazon and Debenhams were very relatively similar sized in value about 20 years ago, 15 years ago. What were Amazon doing 20, 15 years ago? They were basically building Amazon Web Services. What were Debenhams doing? The owners of Debenhams, who were a private investment company, took about £1.2 billion out of Debenhams, then relisted them on the stock market. One of them's out of business, and one of them's the biggest company in the world. And that story symbolizes what happens. You can underinvest in an asset, in a business, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years. You can get away with it, but the writing's on the wall. And if you want another paradigm, 30% of the world's R&D spending is in China. Right? It's now the second biggest economy. United States has 30% as well. So when companies in Europe are trying to compete against Chinese companies on advanced technological grounds, they can't, because basically these companies have got the government of China behind them, backing them, saying, okay, let's do more research, let's find better technology. And so this has been part of China's advanced research and development. And you can talk about this with a football club as well. A football club needs continual investment. It needs to upgrade the facilities, the stadium, the first team. It needs to invest in sports science. And United have fallen behind. Forget Solskjaer, forget Van Gaal, Mourinho, forget all the debate about managers. On an organizational level, they don't have football people in charge. The finances of the club are weaker than other clubs due to a £600 million debt. And there isn't a feeling inside United to actually strive for excellence. There isn't a feeling to say, hey, let's actually try to be excellent. Let's try and be the best club in the world. Look at a club like Bayern Munich. Like Bayern Munich want to be the best club in the world. I know they're in a weaker league in Germany, but like the stadium, the culture, the people who are running the club. Look at Bayern Munich in the transfer market. You just see that they buy players like bang. They buy players. You don't see any of these issues with chasing players. They find a player and they buy the player, and players want to go there because of the success. But anyway, has anyone got any comments to make in the chat? Please feel free to comment. We've got more people watching than we've got likes. So if you could like the video, that'd be great. But what does everyone else think? Do you think that United are in terminal decline? My personal view is that regardless of the manager, United are really going to face a major uphill task to actually compete with Man City, Chelsea, Liverpool without a change in the structure inside of the club. And I also think that many top managers don't want to come to United. United basically are a reputation destroyer. If you're an up-and-coming manager, going to United could destroy your reputation. So managers now are clever about the jobs that they take. They don't go to places where the odds of them failing are high. And actually, the odds of failing with United are high. And that's because of the structure and the finances. Like people say United spend a lot of money. United spend about £50 million net each year. It's not a lot of money. Aston Villa have probably outspent us in some of the transfer windows. And the difference is where you've got major issues in your squad, you need to fix those issues. When the summer transfer window closed and United hadn't bought a defensive midfielder, I knew that we'd struggle this season. I knew it. Everybody knew it. It was obvious. But do the Glaziers or do Woodward actually understand football? No. He thinks, yeah, we've got Ronaldo, we're going to win everything. They're stupid. Football team is a jigsaw puzzle. You've got to put all the pieces in place to win. And there's no shortcut around that. Now, you can criticize individual decisions. You say he's not played Van der Beek, he's not played Sancho. Fine. But generally speaking, in the past 10 years, Man City have been the most successful club in England by far. Right? In another 10 years, it'll be like that again. Because they're set up in a way that increases their chances of success. Unlike United, who are scattergun at best and anarchic. Actually, completely anarchic how everything's ran because they don't know. And when you've got 600 million quid of debt and where you've got 50 million pounds in interest payments and dividends leaving the club every year, there's an opportunity cost because you could easily, if you didn't have that, have a net spend of 100 million. You could be more aggressive in the transfer market and buy better players, but they don't. So anyway, let me wrap up there. No Name says you talk sense in a world of madness. Cheers. Thanks, No Name. Appreciate that. Yeah, I'm going to wrap up there. I'm not even angry anymore. I've accepted that United are just fucked. Like, if you're talking about competing at the top of English football, top of European football, there's no chance. You might be able to do the odd season, but people get washed away in a narrative about managers. Do you know what? There's the managers, the third most important person, right? United need to get a new CEO. They need to get a new director of football. Then they need to get a new manager. If just a new manager comes and the structure remains the same, the manager's going to fail. It's not rocket science. You need to have a strategy that means that you get the best players in the world and you have them inside of a system that the manager has time to train on. You also need to have a squad that's not just deep. It has to be full of quality. And until that happens, the next manager won't be successful. And this is why Zidane doesn't want the job. He's not stupid. Why didn't Guardiola come to United? Why did he go to City? Do you think he's stupid? Why did Klopp turn down United as well? Do you think Klopp's stupid? He looked at it and he thought, the Glaziers, He would have got assurances about power, money, and time at Liverpool, and he's got it. And they've reaped the rewards. Good luck to them. And like someone like Guardiola, like people say like Nagelsmann wouldn't come to United. I'm telling you, managers understand what Man United are now. And United are now going to be aiming at managers who are a level below. They're going to have to sell the manager a dream that he can somehow bring United back. And that dream is a dream because it's not based upon reality. And ultimately, the actual modern manager has got an agent and he's got advisors around him. And they're going to come and say, well, I need to buy 5 players. It's going to cost you 500 million. And United are going to say, well, no. So top managers aren't going to touch it. Guardiola came to City and he's basically bought like 20 players for about 50 million pounds each. And any player he wants, if reasonable, they'll try and get him for him. That's because they want to be the best team in the world. And United don't. United want to spend 40, 50 million pound net, bring through youth players, finish top 4, get the money rolling in, and do things like that. It doesn't work like that. United need to buy 2 central midfield players, regardless of the manager. And if you want to buy top ones, you're talking about 200 million quid, right? They need to, there's probably about 15 central midfield players in the world who could improve United. And you need to go and buy 1 or 2 of them. It's going to cost you an awful lot of money. If you're interested in being excellent and moving on to another level, you're going to have to do that. No manager can coach Fred and McTominay to be possession-based or to, keep the tempo of a match. Not going to happen. And you probably need to go and buy a striker at some point because Cavani and Ronaldo are old, and you need to buy a right back. You need to invest some serious money, and United won't do it. They said, we've got a plan with Solskjaer, we're slowly building, but they didn't. He hit the rocks and they sacked him because they haven't got a clue. If you wanted to win, you should have got all your summer spending done. All your spending done in the summer. Due to financial fair play, United can spend another £230 million. You can go and buy someone. Go to West Ham, buy Rice. Go and get De Jong. Go and get Verratti. Probably hard to get Verratti. Go and get Phillips from Leeds. Go and pick up. Go to Dortmund and say, here's 100 million euros cash immediately for Bellingham. They'll sell him. They'll sell him for something like that. Offer them the cash up front. But United don't do that. They'll fuck around and try and find a cheaper option. And therefore, City don't do that. City won the league last season at a canter. And what did they do? They went and bought Jack Grealish for £100 million in a position that they're already stacked in because they wanted to get that generational talent. And they'll do that again and again and again. They'll constantly try to upgrade the team. And that's what you're up against. So you need to back the manager and buy the right type of players. But you need to buy elite players. Simple as that. But anyway, let me wrap it up. Thanks, Shaf Man. Yeah, cheers, No Name. Thanks a lot for joining me. Enjoy your Monday. I'm exacerbated by this whole thing. The rumor mill is out of control. Every newspaper is saying a different manager is going to take over. So we'll have to see. I have no inside information and I wouldn't want to speculate. If I could pick a manager, it wouldn't just be a manager. I would try and get Edwin van der Sar as CEO. I'd try and get Luis Campos as director of football. And I'd probably try and get Ten Hag as manager. If you got those 3 in and you gave them power, they would bring United back to the top. But without that change, with knobheads like Woodward, you're not doing anything. Don't be deluded about Ollie out and all this shit. All these people want Ollie out. You'll see. In 2 years, we'll be having the same conversation about the new manager failing. I guarantee it. I guarantee it for you. And it's nothing to do with, the actual manager. Like Ollie got a second last season. That's the maximum this squad could do. If anyone thinks that they could do better, they can't. So anyway, let's see what happens. We've got Villarreal tomorrow. I don't know. I'm deflated. I don't know what the players feel like, but they need to rocket up their arse as well. Some of these players, like Maguire on Saturday night, was in a nightclub in Sheffield. Like, just fuck off. I'm done with Maguire now. I think he's a pussy. He needs to toughen up. Some of these players are pussies. They need to toughen up and book up their ideas. Always crying on social media, like fuck off. Go to a nightclub in Sheffield when the guy that brought you to United is being sacked. Like, it's just unacceptable. and all that cup in his ears for England. Go and play for fucking England then. I don't support England. I support Man United. I'm not interested in fucking England and all that shit. Nationalistic shite for knobheads. Not interested. If you support England, don't fucking follow my channel because you're a dick. I can't be fucking arsed. Anyway, support Man United. And if Maguire and Shaw and all these little fucking knobheads think it's better to play for England, leave United. He's like Shaw as well. Like, it's just shit. He's believed the hype. He's believed the hype. Like, he thinks he's like the best Sherberto Carlos. His fucking displays have been disgraceful. Anyway, let's see. They can't throw Ollie under the bus now. Let's see. What will piss me off is if they start winning now. Like, that'll annoy me even more. I hope we don't win, because these players need a rude awakening, because their attitude has been disgraceful. They're not running enough. And do you know what? I'm a bit through with it. So, yeah, enjoy your day. Thanks for watching. Thanks for the support. Thanks for the likes. And, yeah, enjoy. Peace.